Thank you everyone for joining this discussion on AWS. Today's topic is challenges and benefit, an insight for university student. Since we are on AWS for a few years, as a company, as the innovation is trying to get involved with AWS, and we thought it would be a good idea for the student whom we work on community outreach program to give them an insight why AWS is important and what are the challenges they face. So we have a guest list today. Include Mr. Mohammed Zaman. He's a leader in solution architecture, Amazon Web Services. We have Megha Nayak, assistant professor, Goa College of Engineering, India. We have Mukammel Wahid, additional director, Metropolitan University, Bangladesh. And then we have Amol Bhandari, team lead, SC Innovation LLC, India. And my first question to Mr. Zaman would be, Mr. Zaman, we've been talking about AWS. In very simple term, if I were a student, what would you tell me? Why would I learn AWS? And why should I go ahead and start learning right now, even though I'm in college third year or fourth year?
Thank you, Shahed Bhai, and thanks everybody. First of all, this is a great session and very, very timely. So if you look at the current situation, in fact, technology is leading the path for every organization. It doesn't matter your retail, your anything. If somebody is not doing technology, essentially they're falling behind. So for that reason, if you are in computer science, you are in a very good shape, first of all. I'm just gonna remove my virtual background. Give me 1 second, because it's looking. Okay, so that's number one thing. So current situation, technology is a must for any company. Now, as you are part of the computer science or IT or information technology or any other subject that you're studying in college, you have to be technology enabled. If you look at the path, which technology is really leading, it's gonna be all cloud-based technology. And even within that cloud-based technology, if you see, look at who are the leaders, who are innovating the most, who's actually securing the future, you see their top 3 organizations, AWS, Microsoft, and Google. And even within that, it's called a Gartner Magic Quadrant. It's an analyst. They analyze everything and they come up with a rating. Within that rating, AWS is leading compared to anybody else. So to summarize it, if you are especially in the technology field, you must learn cloud and you must learn AWS so that you can get ahead and secure yourself for a professional career for next 5 to 10 years, at least to begin with. So that's why it's a must. Now let's look at the second side. If you started something or if you wanted to help out an organization, these organizations are really in a dilemma of transforming themselves. Right now, if you keep doing exact same thing you're doing, you're not going to be any longer business for a long time. So you have to change. Now that pace of change, meaning the amount of change you have to do, that requires a lot of innovation. AWS's pace of innovation with depth and breadth of services are massive, meaning that every day you can learn something new and you never finish learning. So there is a lot more things you can do, and the companies can actually get to the next level. Whatever they can imagine, to some extent, they can do it with very ease. Okay, that's the technology portion of it. Business side, most of the things you start with AWS starts for free, meaning it doesn't cost you anything. That means if something doesn't work out, perfectly all right, you learned something, it did not cost you anything. In any other way, you try to start something, it costs you a lot of money, You have to buy hardware. You got to do buy a virtual machine or something like that. You have contract, cost you a lot of money. From that perspective, AWS provides you so much benefit that I can start something latest and greatest technology. I can do something normally it took me 12 months. It took me 1 month. So all in all, if you look at it, the right technology to learn would be AWS technologies for the cloud. Now, why now? If you're starting in a school, it takes a long time. Learning has changed. From the university, you're gonna learn your foundational components. Learning changed towards micro skill, meaning you have to take one skill at a time, be expert, and get to the next skill. That's why you need to start now, because there are some competencies you must have. What is security? How do we do networking? How do we start something? How do I log in? You know, those foundational skills. That's why you have to do it now. So let me summarize this thing. I gave you a broad answer. First and foremost, to secure your professional growth and your personal career objective, you would go to a cloud-based company, lead with AWS. Second, if you want to learn, you should start learning now, because it's going to take you a little bit of time to get acquainted with and get familiar with it. Hopefully that answers the question.
That did definitely answer the question. My second question would be, I spoke with a lot of students last few years, and when we talk about the potential for future job market on AWS and cloud computing, a lot of people probably, the first question they ask, do I need to be a computer science student to learn AWS? So what would
That's
you
a very
tell
good
them?
question. I can answer with my experience. I don't have a single computer science experience. My background is accounting. I graduated in accounting. I actually never wrote a single line of code. If you ask me where did I do the coding, cut and paste coding. And that was, you know, not a good one at all. So yes, if you have that computer science background, absolutely, it's going to be phenomenal, because you can get ahead significantly. But if you don't have it, you could be very successful in the technology world. So what does this cloud computing give you? You break your thinking barrier. That's the biggest thing, because there are so many things you can do that you could not have done any other way. This is how I feel it. And I'm talking about from my experience, meaning that I used to think, you know, for example, let's look at COVID. I have to go to a doctor. No, I don't. I can actually do a symptom checker, which is a chatbot solution. And I can literally show you how to build a chatbot without writing a single line of code, as long as you have the concept how to do it. In fact, if we have some time today, I'm going to log in. I'll show you how to do these things. And that applies for every elements of the technology. You can build a robot. You can do IoT stuff. You can do a machine learning. You can do all those latest and greatest technology with minimal knowledge of coding and programming. You do have to have your imagination. You have to think way beyond what normally you think. Oh, just think there is absolutely no limit, and then start from there. That's what the technology provides you. I think from computer science perspective, if you have that experience, it's gonna take you, you can see the under the hood. It's kind of like driving a car. Do you need to be a car mechanic to drive a car? Not anymore. You can just drive the car. But if you are a car mechanic, you know everything. You can open up the hood, you can see everything, all the engines, you know about that. So, and you can modify it. Hopefully that answers the question on this.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry, since I interviewed a lot of students, I have some more questions for you, and
Keep going.
and we are trying to ask you question, and hopefully it will answer some of the questions of the student and the community. So let's say I'm a third year computer science student or fourth year. The reason I learned some of the programming, which universities are well behind on technology teaching, right? The things we are learning, sometimes programming, C++, or some cases, maybe maximum HTML and other languages yeah, they are learning Android and other languages. But my question to you would be, again, the question goes back. The reason I'm learning those other technology and I'm learning even WordPress, I spend a lot of my resource and time learning WordPress because job market is out there. Some of the people I have seen that they started learning digital marketing because the job is there.
Mhm.
So the question would be for me, if I am living in Bangladesh or India, I have to work on a local company. I'm not looking for US job market directly. Yes, it is a global job market. Why would I learn AWS? Is there a job demand right away after I graduate? Because I need a job. That's another question a lot of students ask me.
This is a very interesting question. This is a very good question. I'm going to also do that with my personal experience. When I came to the US, and you can relate or you might not be able to relate that, almost everybody started their career, or not everybody, a lot of students started their career in New York City by driving yellow cab. And you could absolutely drive yellow cab and earn really good money. I was a student, I was not earning as much money as everybody else driving. They can buy a house, they can do everything. It's perfectly all right. At the same time, a lot of students, they actually pursue their career and learn the next thing, what lands them with the career growth in a different level altogether. Okay, the reason that I'm giving you this anecdotal is that you can actually earn money by learning any skill and you put it in place. For example, WordPress, or let's say Joomla or some other CMS platform, or SEO or digital marketing, fantastic. There is a lot of demand out there and you can do that. You can go to Fiverr, you can find those jobs. What you're going to find on those kind of stuff is there is a ceiling, there is a limit you will hit. And I was doing the research, like I think last month, and I noticed the average rate for WordPress developer, in individually speaking, not the organization, is hits by $5 per hour. You can't go beyond $5. I think $5.75. But regardless of that fact, at $6, you maxed out. Okay, you just went through as a university student, and you went through 4 year worth of education, professional education, learned a lot of things and have the foundation. That WordPress person, a lot of time, they don't even have a computer science background. They take these vocational trainings, they take a micro class, they learn from YouTube, they learn from different things. Same way, SEO or digital marketing, they learn differently. They don't even have to have the computer science background. And they are okay with that because this is their expectation that $6 per hour is good enough money and the right one. And they're fine with it because of the fact that's the objective they want to meet. Now, the potential for computer science, and again, you can absolutely do that. There is no limit to that. However, here is the thing. If you look at computer science, what it had been 10 years ago and now, it is so amazing. Let me go back to COVID. COVID required all healthcare providers provide their services from remotely, or whoever is physically there. A lot of them started physically first, and then afterward, if I'm quarantined at home, but I'm getting all my services. So for example, for healthcare, I needed a symptom checker or chatbot, okay? Now, if you are a digital marketer, if you are a WordPress developer, you might be able to get something, but you're not going to be able to grasp that whole concept and build that particular application. The technology is not that hard, but that concept and that idea is much, much tougher. This is one piece. If you have a computer science background, you can easily get to that level, build that symptom checker, impact much bigger. The WordPress site is one of the website, a CMS that you are providing you. You can provide some customers. That chatbot that a chatbot anybody can create, just so you know, you can go to Facebook, but that chatbot with a rich, immersive personal experience, you can do through your career because of the fact that you have that background. And that potential per hour if I just do conversion, is going to be $100 to $200 per hour. That is a big difference. Doesn't matter if you're providing that service for Bangladesh. Now, this chatbot service symptom checker, you needed a COVID symptom checker in Dhaka, in Chittagong, in Sylhet, in Bangladesh. You needed the same thing in India, in any place, okay? So it's local. Second thing is that at the same time, you might need the telemedicine services. Forget the symptom checker, meaning that I wanted to talk to my doctor, but I'm remote. You, in the school, you might need it in distance learning. There is a lot of things, a lot of sharing the teachers are doing. So you can do that. In fact, my son has teachers. They are providing, tutoring from India right now. I have coding. My son does coding from India. My son does math and English from India. And there is one person from Dubai. So it used to be completely different. Now, yes, the concept is easy. You can go through Zoom, but you can build that application that provides a significant customer solution. Now, the difference is you can learn WordPress. Customer tells you, can you build me a WordPress site with the theme? You can buy the theme and you can done. And that price is going to keep going lower and lower and lower. When you provide an immersive customer experience, it doesn't matter for what it is. For healthcare, that chatbot solution, for somebody who's buying e-commerce, or from somebody who is doing a learning education, you as a computer science professional gotta start thinking differently. For example, design thinking is a method. So you start thinking completely differently and start providing that solution. This solution has significant potential. That WordPress provided, whoever owned or whoever gave you that job provided a $5 worth of services. That's why you're getting paid $5. This particular immersive solution, you might have to build a, add different technologies, combine it, integrate those things, and provide that solution. It gives you a $100 worth of return. So you get 20 times of the return. And is that always the case? No, you always have to keep up to date, and you always have to, keep up to date, even in the WordPress side, even in the technology side. So I gave you a lot of information to summarize these things. In the WordPress, it's one tool that you're learning, providing a tool-based solution. And that tool, once you learn, and that price keeps going down. On the computer science in AWS, as I told you, last year, we have provided about 1,800 new products and services, meaning every day there are 5 to 6 new things came up. There's so much innovation because based on our customers who are asking for it, we keep providing those solutions. So if you become that cloud service provider who takes those things and provide the support, then that tool that keeps going down, here the innovation keep going up, and you learn so much, and then the customer is willing to pay more. Now let me elaborate that a little bit more. Customers today, a lot of our customers have virtual machine-based solution, meaning this is a server, I'm going to build an application in that server. Regardless, I have one customer, one transaction, or I have many transactions. And now when I go beyond that server capacity, I have to add another server. Now you're paying for all these things. Newer technology-wise, not that new, 5 years old, called serverless. If I don't have to worry about the server, I can reinvent my business over and over. That server cost me $100. Serverless cost me $0 if I don't have a transaction, if I don't have anything. It doesn't really cost me. In fact, up to 1 million transactions cost you nothing. So now think about that. It is costing me a lot in the business, costing me $100. It cost me $1. So that business is willing to pay you that $90 or $50 because they're going to split the profit. Before, it cost me $100. Now it cost me $1. I'll pay you $50. Now WordPress, I know I can do it in $5, and there are 100 other people can do it in $5. When I come back to you, you're going to be spending same time. You'll be spending 1 week to build these things. You're going to be spending 1 week to build this. So at the end of the day, you provide more value to the customer. You provide new innovation to the customer. You are going to be customer's consultant, strategic partner of the customer versus whatever the customer told you to do, you're just doing it, meaning a task. You're finishing a task versus you becoming a partner of the customer. It is a completely different thing altogether. You are thinking what is the best for your customers. Here, you're just providing a solution for your customers. So it's a completely two different things. Again, you can do that. There is a demand. Those are predictable. On the other one, you have to figure out what to do and come up with a new solution all the time. This is what truly, this day and age, since COVID, since pandemic, every customer wants you to come up with it. Otherwise, that customer who is paying you money, they go out of business. It doesn't matter how big they are if they're not renovating themselves.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Now, I want to go to Megha ma'am here and ask some specific question from the student perspective. We already have some question asked by student, but again, we want to concentrate, and I like to know that what Mr. Zaman just explained about how important to learn AWS and the potential market. Do you see on your student level, they have this discussion, or do they have this knowledge that they should learn AWS and related technology, cloud technology? What is the feeling inside a student community?
Yeah, based on this session for today and some fear in the mind of the students when it comes to this particular topic, we at the Goa College of Engineering just conducted a small research. If I may be allowed to share my screen, may I?
Sure, definitely.
Okay, okay. One second, please.
Not a problem.
Okay. Can you share my, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So on behalf of the Goa College of Engineering, myself, Megha Nayak, faculty there, under the guidance of our principal and my HOD, Principal Krupa Shankara, and my HOD, Dr. Nilesh, we conducted a small survey for the challenges and benefits inside for university students. And amongst the student fraternity, when we threw a small survey, we asked them the first question, do you know about AWS? Okay, this was one question that we threw. And just about like, a little bit more than the half of the student community said a yes, and the others said like a no, like they were not aware. And then we asked them a question, how are you familiar with cloud computing? And some of them, around, you can see 51% of them, theoretical knowledge they said they have, all right, and around 14% of them said they have a considerable amount of practical knowledge, and around the 35% said not at all, they are like completely unaware about this. Then those who knew about it, we asked them, what are the challenges you're facing, right? So some of them knew about it, but they did not know where to start. So they were clueless from where to start. Some of them just thought of it like, it's just like a storage place. You just like store, I mean, not more than that. And some said that, ma'am, we know IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, but what goes on in each, clearly, we do not know much more. And most of them said that they had a lot of payment issues, billing issues, credit card, debit card stuff. Again, security issues they came up with, I don't know. Some of them had issues with cost. One striking feature over here that we came across, they said lack of resource and guidance. All right, though there is a lot of material available there on the web, but it's like you introduce them to cloud computing, but where to start or which place to start from, not aware, like don't know. And they know some tools on about the AWS, but applications where, how, not known. Then once I threw a question to them, guys, do you know about AWS Educate? And they're like, what's that? Okay. And then Benefits when it came to, I asked them, those who knew about it, like, how will it help you? They said it would let them kickstart their career. Some of them said that it would give them a lot of uh, collaboration, networking opportunities. Then one of them pointed out this, that if a student is a member of an organization that has joined AWS Educate, they are eligible for a grant of $100 in AWS credits. All right, so that was what we could figure out from the small survey that we conducted. So they are kind of some of them really have like, they are clueless, and some of them are still sailing through, like trying to figure out, testing new things, failing. Some of them don't have a credit card, they're borrowing others are like not sure. So these were the kind of things that we kind of took away from them. Yeah.
So thank you. So it looks like, Mr. Zaman, the knowledge what we are holding here in US, or your expectation versus students. I think the numbers, which is on my mind right now, is that the number of people who knows that AWS, how they can learn. So maybe you can review that data, what we just showed, and then tell me in simple terms, bullet point, 1, 2, 3. This is where I should start AWS learning.
I think this is a very good point that you're making, and thanks, Megha Madam, for sharing these data points. I had a feeling that this is the data point. And Shahed Bhai, I can tell you this is not the data point in India. This is the data point in the US. My daughter, she is on her senior year now. When she was in junior year. She is learning computer science at Rutgers University. Rutgers is a pretty well-known university here. And their computer science department is pretty good because they have a huge amount of funding from the government to do some research. She had really no idea. I mean, she knows about AWS because I work for AWS. She doesn't know what I do anyway. But she had no idea what AWS could do. I kind of like, to some extent, forced her, okay, do this first, at least learn what it is. And then I found out, and I'll tell you, and again, I'm trying to make it what my experience is. I have a feeling is that it's going to match up very easily. My daughter told me she had no idea how to do networking to some extent. Like meaning subnet and virtual private connection, software-defined network, and all of those things. I said, wow, that's kind of like, okay, let me go down a little further. Let me show you how this networking works. Then I showed her, okay, this is how networking works. This is how you do IP addresses. This is what DNS means. So a lot of foundational component I was expecting as a student in the US in a leading university to some extent. It's not the Princeton University, but it is to some extent well-known university in the US. She would know those things at junior year. She has one more year to go. She had no idea. So one of the things that I feel like that it's our obligation, what you and I always talk about, is workforce readiness. And there is a bridge between the university students and the workforce ready. And we have to start really and very seriously thinking about how to build that bridge. There are two things to it. First of all, it needs to come from the industry side, like ourselves, and we need to provide that guidance, and we need to actually go and make them aware and where to go, what to do, how to start. Meaning, as Megha Madam just showed you, this is unbelievable. It's not unbelievable, I believe it. It's like really how not ready they could be because they don't even know it. If they, as a student, if they don't know AWS Educate, this is an opportunity for you to get into AWS without a credit card. Any other way you want to go to AWS, you need a credit card. As a student, you don't have a credit card or international credit card that can provide international payment. So this is a massive opportunity. That means that I gotta be a foundation level awareness. Second thing, what do I do? Okay, I got this Educate account. What do I do? Where do I start? Now, I take it for granted. I just go and start searching in Google. Where do I start? Assume that I need to know something. Trust me, 2 months ago, I had no idea. Oops, sorry. We have the, energy savings. But 2 months ago, I didn't know anything about chatbot, how to build an application in chatbot. We had an hackathon. I learned it myself over the weekend because I had to do a lecture session. And I learned it how to do it, not only how to do it, what is it about, and how to build it as well, because it was a 300 level session. 300 level means 100 is informational, 200 is you learn about the technology, 300 is hands-on, you actually do it, 400 is expert level. So I had to learn 100, 200, 300 level because it is a 300 level session. And what I found out is there's so much information I can find. I don't have to pay for any of those stuff. I can just go right away. That's the go right away, like YouTube or free course in Udemy or Google. It's unbelievable. And then I logged into AWS console, assume that I am a customer of AWS. And I was able to build that through without anybody's help. So the point is that this is a train moving very fast. We just have to put the students into the train. And that's our job. That's the bridge that we absolutely have to build. Meaning we actually have to show them. And I think, Shahed, you have an experience also with your team. Once they know it, it's amazing. I also had an experience with some students in Bangladesh. When they understood, which I was focusing on serverless computing, once they understood, they dropped essentially almost everything else, and they're really keenly focusing on it. Before they used to do programming using PHP language. Now they're all almost converted to Python. And before they used to do a virtual machine, they install Linux. Now they're almost wholly doing everything serverless. Before they used to do everything in MySQL database. Now they're doing everything in NoSQL, like in AWS term DynamoDB database. So it kind of like that conversion happened so quickly in 3 months from, if I look back 3 months ago, same people, whatever they used to do, the whole operating model changed. Answering your question is that where to start is our responsibility. I think we need to do a better job and a continuous job. Let's say every semester, we need to have a seminar type of class, let's say 1 or 2 hour class. And I'm gonna, if Megha, madam, if you are interested, I would be more than happy to do that session. And I'm gonna ask once they learn, those students, ask them to be the ambassador and teach in the next semester. And I could be proctoring it, they could be running it, and the next one, they would be leading it. So if we build in every university ambassadors, which they run a seminar session for every computer science student every semester, because it needs constant reminder, because people might miss it or they might not have realized it. So that awareness is fundamentally important. Once they are aware, our students are super bright. I mean, all of you guys who are listening, you are way brighter than I am, and anybody else, all the teachers, or even everybody that we're talking to, you guys are super bright. And once we show you the stuff, you can go in deep, dive deep, and actually take it to a different level. So I think our fundamental job is to provide that guidance to the awareness and the possibilities, what it can do. I think they can do. And I've seen that over and over and over in my experience. Once we do that, they can go so far out, it's unbelievable.
So let's get into the point here, very specific, and I want to discuss a little bit more, like what students are really interested. So number one would be, even if you can share the screen, just go over where, if I'm a student, I have no idea about AWS, where should I go first? AWS Educate, right? And then how do I start learning? So can you even give me like bullet point, step 1, step 2, step 3?
Sure. Absolutely. Give me just 1 second. I'm trying to share.
You don't have to share, but you can just go ahead and talk about it also.
I would love to share. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out where, because normally I can share the whole, my desktop. It doesn't look like that, giving me an option to share. Can I share by any chance?
Yeah, you can share. Like you can click on share and then pick a
Yeah,
screen
I
on the
know.
bottom of the screen. If you cannot, I made you host, so you should be
Give me
able to.
1 second. I'll figure it out. Give me 1 second. Oh, so it only gives me share. Okay, I'm gonna share. Tell me what you see. Do you see a screen with a
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
we can see your Google YouTube.
So I'm gonna go to the AWS Educate in a moment. First, I just went to YouTube. I'm just gonna show you what I'll do, okay, for everybody's information. I just went to YouTube, freely available to anybody. I went to AWS, I think I saw the question, certification. You don't have to do certification, but to learn, I'm just showing you what's the easiest way to learn about AWS first. If I go there, there is a solution architect full course, 10 hour, 26 minutes. You can do that if you know something about AWS. If you don't know anything about AWS, this is AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. Practitioner means you know the term what AWS can do. This is a 4-hour training. Now, this is a extremely great place to start. Now, I didn't go any paid site. If you got Udemy access, I think a lot of university student has free Udemy access, and you can even get better content. But just simply going to this provides you first the cloud practitioner, then the solution architect. If you take these two courses, you are well ahead of a lot of people based on the surveys that I've seen. And you kind of like learn almost what can AWS potentially do. What are the, and also, which is very important, you have a realization of what are the foundational things that you have gap. You might have gap in networking. You go, and again, let's say you don't know network. I'm just gonna type subnet, subnetting. See, I'm just typing it. It came subnetting in Hindi if you want to. So subnetting tutorial. So it actually teaches you how to do subnetting. Let's say you don't know DNS. You figure out DNS tutorial or DNS tutorial for beginners. I'm just showing you how easy these things are available. So you go to that practitioner, you go to that architecture, and then you find out, okay, these are my gaps. Because if it's kind of like the steps in a staircase, you got to take 1, 2, 3 step, one step at a time. Don't skip it because you will fall. This, if you don't have the foundation very strong, in future, you're gonna fall really hard. So if you first, again, I'm just gonna go back, very simply speaking, I just went in, did a quick AWS certification. It showed me multiple things. Where do I start? I start with a practitioner. And how do I know is the practitioner is the good one? I'm gonna show you that in a second. But I'm guiding you right now. Do the practitioner first, do the solution architecture second, find out where the gaps are, learn those micro skills, and boom, you have the foundation what to do. And then what you need to know is the trends. This is what we need to teach you, and we need to show you. In fact, what you next do, really focus on where you want to do. What is you are more interested in? You want to do machine learning? You want to do infrastructure as a service? You want to do robotics? You want to do IoT? You can have any of those things. What I'm going to recommend all of you guys to do to participate in this journey, let's say, oh, okay, these are only 14 hours. I can just finish that in like, in 1 week, 2 hours per day. I'm done in 1 week. What do I do next? So AWS currently has, it's called AWS Mission to Mars. I'll post these links in the chat bot, hold on 1 second, where is the chat? I'll send it for all of you guys. So what it does is, this is Mission to Mars. Mars stands for Machine Learning, Artificial Intelligence, and Robotics. We hear these terms all the time. We know that if you are expert in these things, your job is pretty secure, meaning that everybody wants machine learning. What does it mean? And you join these things, you register, it is going to give you a significant leg up and what you can do. Now, when you start machine learning, you find out, oh, okay, I need to know Python, but you don't know Python. Good, go and learn. Where are you going to learn this Python? You can go to YouTube and I can guarantee you there is a Python bootcamp. You can start. And I actually don't know anything about Python. And I had to do some coding, Python tutorial or bootcamp. I'm gonna do bootcamp. Bootcamp meaning that you get to kind of like know from scratch to the beginner. So learn Python for beginners. That's what I did. It's 4.5 hours. So if you have an object-oriented programming, if you have a language that you have learned, if you learn PHP, you already know .NET or C, C# or something, it's going to be not a tough course for you to learn. Again, this is a different thing, but you're going to find out either Python, you can do Python, or Go. Go is a Google language, okay? So these are the two things that you should learn. Golang in 7 hours, see? So all of these things are really, really, truly available to you. Now, this is where we come in. In the beginning, we have to show you what the future look like and what are the things you actually have to learn. So Python is a good language because when you do machine learning, you're gonna need Python, you're gonna need R. There is another statistical language that you need to learn, but you will learn that through that process. Oh, if I wanted to do this, I need to know statistics. Okay, I think most of the computer science students already took statistics. They have basic concept, or they wanted to do some advanced stuff, they can take some courses. But regardless of that fact, this is the way to go. Now, let's say, what do I do in AWS? I want to build my career. I want to be the best person in 2 years from now or 1 year from now in AWS. What do I need to do? Obviously, certification is important in a sense that it provides you credential. Hold on 1 second. What do I mean by that? Oops, sorry. That means that certification opens the door for me. So I'm just gonna type here, AWS, oops, AWS certification. Same thing. I am showing you exactly how I do it. I go to Google, I search, thanks to Google, I can find anything. I go to this certification. And again, because of the AWS, I'm looking at AWS certification. I'm just gonna post this link as well in the chat. Okay, now, let me just close this off. If I go to this certification, there is a diagram. Cloud Practitioner, this is a foundational course. The basic course is Cloud Practitioner. Then an associate level course. Now I know what the concept is. I get to know how to do. These are all how stuff. And okay, solution architect, SysOps, meaning solution architect, architecture, developer. What are the developer tools? Developer doesn't teach you coding, just so you know. What are the tools for developers we have? SysOps, how do I run these things, operationalize it? Then I become a solution architect professional and DevOps engineer. Professional meaning that I can dive deep and troubleshoot anything, meaning the next level. And then we have the specialty ones, where you got the analytics, machine learning, Alexa, which is the, you guys might be familiar. I can ask anything to Alexa. If I say anything, it's gonna start talking right now. But all of those networking stuff, security stuff. So these are a specialty. So there are 12 courses, more courses coming. You become this 12 course expert. I can tell you, in January, we had like 50 people in the world. Now we have more than 2,000 people who has all 12 certification. Because of COVID, people were at home. They were just taking one course at a time and pass the test. Now you become, we call it, and to some extent, an expert who can answer questions. What do you do with that? How do you start practicing those things? Here we go. AWS, community builder, and community heroes. So if I just type AWS community builders, who are that? These are the developers. It's a global community, and I'm just gonna post this link in the chat as well, so that you learn the stuff you wanna apply. These community builders, and you can join, anybody can join, and you can start mentoring or get mentorship. You can get continuous credits. There's so much credit that you can continuously get. It's unbelievable. So you can essentially build anything you like for free, okay? So then you become a community builder. Once you are good at it, you are answering the question, or you are looking at something you tried, you couldn't answer, somebody else is answering. So you build this is a community of people. Then you become part of community heroes. AWS community hero. So what is that program? This program is essentially make you very well deserved. Meaning if I'm looking for somebody that I want to hire, I actually go to this site and I find somebody and get it. Meaning that you don't have to look for job will look for you. I'm just gonna post this community hero as well. So that's the next step. Once you learn something, give me 1 second. Oh, all panelists, sorry, I should be sending to everybody. Thanks, Sanjeev, for doing that. So this is AWS community hero. So you become hero, meaning that you don't have to look for job. Job is gonna start looking for you. I just gave you a structured way, the way that I think how you can start and you can get to that level. And the last thing that I'll tell you, you must use that AWS Educate. Mukammel Wahid is here, Megha is here, Madam is here. So go to them and ask them to start. As long as the university is authorized, you don't need a credit card. You can log in, you can have that account and start using this. And if you don't know what it is, just type AWS Educate. I'll put that link as well. And again, I am doing very easy and simple Google search. One of the things you should remember, anything you do, even you can ask me any question anytime you want. I'm available on Facebook and chat and any other place, or Gmail, or I'm sure you can find me if you want to. I'm just gonna keep posting this. So when you go to this AWS Educate, open up your account, you have full access to every AWS services.
Thank you, Zaman. This is very helpful. Since you mentioned about Mukammel, he joined a little late. I'm going to stop sharing and we will go back to our panelists again, because we have a few more panelists and who need to answer some of the questions I already have. So Mukammel, I know you had struggled joining in, but thank you for joining in. My question to you would be the similar, right? Megha Nayak from Goa College of Engineering was showing us that how little students know about AWS and the struggle. Maybe you can also tell us the same thing. What did you, what are the students facing right now? Yes, everybody knows AWS is big, but do students know that it is big, and what are the challenges they face? You have to unmute, I think. I'm going to unmute you. I think you are muted. Sorry. You have to unmute.
Okay.
Now we can hear
everyone.
Yeah.
Now you can listen me.
Yeah, we can listen.
Okay. So I'm sorry I joined late.
It's okay, no problem.
Okay. So we have our students, and I think they are familiar with the technology and latest things. They are updated, but this is actually they know very little about AWS. I think it started in 2006, and then maybe Amazon transferred all his services to AWS in 2009 or 10. I don't know, Mahadev, I can say. So first we need to convince our teachers or faculty members so that they can tell our students that Amazon is the next big thing. And sometimes I tend to ask a silly question to Mahdi Bhai. You are showing us so many easy little step-by-step ways to find AWS from Google. Is there any point Google can stop showing this AWS? Okay, so the market share of AWS is growing tremendously. The COVID situation just boosted it up. And I think our students, they need to know that this is the next big thing. Well, next great big thing. And about 80% of enterprises, they were thinking to transfer to AWS by 2024 or 2025. This was the situation prior to COVID. And now they are trying to switch as soon as possible. And here is the point. We need a lot of people. We need a lot of trained personnel. That's happening now. There is a scarcity. So again, I just want to summarize. We need encouragement from our faculty members who can show our students the path to grow in AWS step by step, and enormous opportunity in AWS for everyone, for companies, for startup, for students, for developers, whatever you want to be.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this is where I feel like our company has been trying for last few years that we are trying to encourage our community. We already signed 3 MOU with 3 universities in Sylhet, where we have office in Goa, and our goal is to promote AWS in certain way, so students know that it is important to learn AWS. Now, what challenges we have seen, what both Mukammel and Megha said, we've been working inside our team to learn AWS, and the journey, even though Zaman Bhai always shows us that this is easy to learn, but I have another person here joining from my company, SJ Innovation, is Amol. Amol is our tech lead for one of the pod, and he has taken responsibility of teaching his pod and our company AWS and serverless. So I want to ask Amol. Amol, can you unmute and start your video? Amol, what are the challenges? It sounds so easy, but you as a developer, you face a lot of challenges. And what do you want to tell the student that, is it possible to learn or is it impossible to learn?
It's very much possible. I think being student itself is a great opportunity you all have, because you all are just at the beginning of your career. I myself, I am here for last 10, 11 years. And when I see this now a few months back, something, serverless technology coming into picture. So I'm like, why didn't this happen when I was in college? Like, if I would have got some help, some seminars or some sort of like, there's something, this concept there, and I need to know about it. If someone would have told me at that moment, I would have been at some different level right now. Maybe I would have been master at that level. So I think being a student itself a big opportunity you all have right now, because here now, Shahed, you have conducted this session wherein someone has introduced and explained very well from detail, step by step, what a student can do, how they can take their career to the next level. We have your faculty, Megha madam. We have, the HOD itself from the Goa Engineering College, as well as Mukammel. These universities are showing the interest, like they can connect to the SG Innovation and take this to the next level, and they want to guide the students. So this is a big opportunity. Maybe if you find some sort, you're stuck somewhere, we are there always to help you out, to guide you all. So I think, even if you go for any other technology or something, you will always feel that question will always come to your mind, like, what do I do next? Basics, I can just Google and do it. But to go to the next level, to master yourself, always you have to try, practice again and again. That thing has to come up from your side as a student, or even as a developer. You need to always learn new technologies coming into picture, you have to upgrade yourself, giving your best. So I think right now as a student, it's one of the best thing that we are giving this, launching this idea to them, and they have a fair amount of time to decide what is good, what is not good for them. So I think, yeah.
Thank you, Amol. So I want to let all the students know who is watching and listening to this conversation that we are partnering with these two universities right now. In October 15th, we are going to launch a new program for AWS, at least 2 courses for 8 weeks. Under community outreach, as Innovation has been doing community outreach with these universities and other universities, but we'll open the gate for anybody else, but we want to keep it local so you can learn from our employees who has taught themselves in last 6 months. So they will be able to answer you the question you may have it. And we are going to launch this in coming few weeks, and keep an eye on our social media and also on our community outreach program page where you registered and joined today's session. But again, our goal is here to take you to the next step, and help you to, to move your career to the new direction. I know the struggle as a student is there. If you want to take your career to the next level, you have to overcome those struggles. So I want to go back to Megha and ask, we don't have enough time, but I still want to extend it and few questions to Megha. That what do you think companies like us should do? Like, I know that even Zaman said it's easy, but I think students are still struggling. They need, Mukammel said, we need to encourage them, which we are doing it always. But what else company like us should do?
Yes, I have an answer to that. See, right now, when we speak about giving them like a training course, anything over and above their academics is like a pressure on their head. So when we target at 7th and 8th semester students, no, I mean, this is the case. When you target at 7th and 8th semester students, ma'am, is this going to be a part of a project? Is this a project idea? Is their first question. So their project in the 7th and 8th semester usually starts somewhere around the first week of August. So end of July, 1st of August, they start throwing their ideas. So at that point of time, if we could incorporate this little bit of cloud computing where it has a sense of in their project, I mean, then we would have like a huge response. But from a student outlook, when they think of this, ma'am, how many hours, ma'am, how many weeks, is this going to fetch us some points, something like that. uh, you like, that's the best way to attract more, by giving them as student projects. I personally feel, after taking all their opinions, that giving this to them as a student project, like having the cloud computing part of it, AWS part of it, I mean, we would definitely get a huge response. But otherwise, there would be only those students who are ready to take that extra mile and put in a little bit more sweat, joining in for this is a very frank response. That's
No,
what I
this is
feel.
very good, like practical response, and I think Jaman bhai, we need to work together to create some project for the student in coming semester, where they would be the 4th year student can be, or like the 7th or 8th semester student can start taking those courses. But I think Megha want remind you that without the guidance, the code, we cannot just give
Yeah,
them, we have to give them guidance and walk them through and
I
make them accountable. I think it has to happen in both sides.
correct.
From ST Innovation itself, we tried the community outreach program, but 9 out of 10 times the students are not on time and it hurt them. So we have to make them accountable, almost like it has to be a partnership between the universities and our organization or any other organization. And I
Yes.
encourage all the organizations to try to take even 10 students per year or 20 students and teach them, teach them AWS or similar field. Mukammel bhai, can you also tell me what can we do? What else can we do to help your student? You are muted again. Sorry. Sorry. You have to. Sorry, you are muted. We cannot hear you. Unmute. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. As you have already taken some program to run a training for 2 months, is it a 6 week or 8 weeks program?
8 weeks. We are thinking about 8
Okay.
weeks. We haven't finalized it. We will send it to you guys.
Okay. But as Megha says, we need to give our students some reward. So it may come as a form of credit, like some form of marks or something like that. Or we can take the course as instead of the project work, then student can be certainly encouraged. But I think at this point, we cannot force all the students to join the program. We can only handpick some of the students so that they can get a taste of the technology, and then later they can talk with the students. So I think currently you are doing right, building awareness, and now the ball is in our court. We need to encourage our students. And
thank you. I think you lost electricity, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, so I will go to Zaman. We are running out of time. I want to give you the last floor to tell us that what is the last message you want to tell the student that, if anything else we missed. I think we answered most of the question here. Yes, well, I think you answered that question. Somebody asked that if I want to build my, Saiful Islam asked, if I want to build my career with AWS, then do I have to know or learn programming? You said no, I guess. Am I right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You don't need to know programming. Another one, Amazon.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you know programming, you're going to be ahead, quite a bit ahead, because you are already doing computer science. You already learned programming. So don't take it in a negative way. The opportunity is vast. AWS just announced they're hiring 37,000 more people in the US, literally. I mean, not AWS, Amazon. And there is a lot of people we're hiring right now in New York. We're always hiring in India. So what I'm trying to say is that the window of opportunity for computer science student or IT students is massive at this moment. Don't shortchange yourself. Don't wait for your, and with all due respect, for your 7th semester. You don't have to. I have seen the high school student in our high school. They are using, I went there, I was judge there. They're using, at high school, at 11th grade, they're using AWS RoboMaker to build their robot with machine learning. That's a completely different thing. I mean, don't wait for 7th semester and take it from your heart. You gotta make sure that you actually know why you're doing this. Not because it's a requirement, because something you want to do. If you're not convinced, that's okay. But make sure, take it from your heart, because if you're not taking from your heart, it will have no value. There will not be any passion. It's not gonna go anywhere. So take it from your heart and you will find a response. Reach out to any of us, anytime. Get a mentor, really get a serious mentor. I know we spend a lot of time in Facebook and social network. Carve out a little bit of time from there and do what's good for your career. Because the career the computer science graduates would have, no one will have that career for next 5 to 10 years without a question. Now you wanna do AWS, you wanna do something else, that's okay. But have a mentor, do it what your heart wants. And once you learn these things, you can decide for yourself what is it that you want to do.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you all the guests and panelists, and thank you all the students who asked questions. I hope we answer most of your questions, but you can always send an email. I also want to introduce here Sanjit Kankar as our community outreach person for ST Innovation. If you are in Goa, if you are in Dhaka, Bangladesh, or if you are in Sylhet, you should be able to email Sanjit. Sanjit may be which is the best way to reach out to you. I think he's on Instagram. You can reach out to him. He's on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can send him a message and he would be able to respond. He can coordinate with Mr. Zaman or Amol or other person or me, and we can arrange session. Even if you want us to go ahead and do another session with a specific group and with a specific topic, we would be able to do it. We are going to do pretty much every month some session. Keep an eye on ST Innovations Community Outreach Program on Facebook and social media. Sanjit, do you have anything else to say? Thank you for arranging this session. I know you've been coordinating for some time and you have done an excellent job.
Yes, Shahed, thank you so much. And I would like to thank all the panelists who have joined today. It was really like very informative session. Like I'm very sure that after this session, the students are going to take this as an opportunity and like make best use out of it. So as you said, if any student or anyone has any issues or any like queries, they can always reach out to me so that I can like get their things done or get some solutions to them. So they can reach out to me on my email, that is sanjit.kanikar@sjinnovation.com, which I have been already like I have been in communication with any student. So most of the students must be having it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our session for today. And thank you for joining in. And we will have a session probably beginning of next month about AWS. And we will have registration open for the class for in October 15. Thank you. Thanks a lot.